It's noon here in Ventnor City, New Jersey, and our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. And this is CarEdge Live for Thursday, February 26th. Oh, my goodness, only 2 days left in this monthly. And your hosts today, as normal, are me, Ray, here sitting in my living room in Ventnor City, and Zach, well, sitting in front of his bike in D.C. How are you today, handsome? And may I say, what a good-looking top you're wearing today.
Yeah, a new shirt. Had to show everyone that I do have more than a handful of t-shirts. Happy Thursday, February 26th. Thanks for tuning in for another episode of CarEdge Live. I'm fired up. I'm in a great mood, Dad. Very excited to be here with you. Excited to talk about an automaker that has lost $26 billion in just 1 year and what that means for our community. But before we do, we must remind everyone that today's show is brought to you by CarEdge.com, putting the edge in car buying. For those of you that are unfamiliar, it's year 6 now. My dad and I have been providing with our incredible team a car buying service that takes care of research, dealer outreach, and even negotiation. We learn what matters to you, contact dealers, and compare real offers to help you get the best deal without the stress. And Dad, if you just scroll down a little bit, you can learn about us being in the Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, ABC, The Today Show, Consumer Reports. We've had such success thanks to this community. And to thank our community, we are offering a promotion right now, $200 off our car buying service, 20% off CarEdge Pro. And as we've been talking about all week, we have a new product, the CarEdge Dealer Ratings Program, caredge.com/dealer-ratings. Continue to seek out feedback and input here. Really excited about what we've built. You can come here, you can go to reports, you can look at brand report cards. You want to find a good Toyota dealer? Boom, go work with Tracy Toyota. They're an A-rated dealer. They don't do add-ons. They have a good doc fee. They negotiate. And you can even come here, folks, and see those negotiations from original out-the-door price quote, boom, to final out-the-door price quote. You've got all the receipts you need to make sure that you're getting a good deal. Spend some time back at caredge.com/dealer-ratings. You ready to jump into the show, Pops?
I believe I am.
All right, we're going to start here. We're talking about our beloved friends, Stellantis. They confirmed their full-year loss, Dad. It'll be $26 billion. And for the first time since 2011, that means profit-sharing checks at the automaker will be $0. Stellantis, Dad, waving the flag, the yellow flag, maybe even a bit of a maroon to red flag. This is bad, man. $26 billion loss is a huge, huge, huge hit for this automaker that's obviously struggling not only here in America, but globally.
Yes. And the worst part about it, if I may, at least in my mind, is, and I know there's a lot of haters out there who are going to say, well, some of the problems that the legacy manufacturers in the United States are having is because of the UAW contracts that were negotiated back in 2023. The only thing I will say to that is the manufacturers agreed to them. So they didn't think they were as bad as a lot of the public seems to think. And so the sad reality is that these contracts that were negotiated include for every one of the UAW employees, workers, a profit sharing. And for the first time in 15 years, there will be no profit sharing check from Stellantis.
And for context, Ford and GM are at about $6,000, $6,200 in profit sharing from the most recent year. So even amidst their struggles, they still were able to contribute that amount of money to all their employees, which is tremendous.
Yes. And as an online hourly employee, you are counting on those profit sharing checks. You are looking forward to that as part of your income for the year. And so to know that when Ford and GM employees will be cashing their profit sharing checks over the next couple of weeks, that you suddenly will be out $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. That's harmful for a lot of people that are finding it difficult and are living paycheck to paycheck. So
that's one part of the story, Dad. The other is obviously the automaker is struggling. And so if you've been in the market or thinking about going into the market for a Stellantis product, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, the desperation level after a $26 billion loss just got notched up. So there's two stories here. I love that you go the angle of what does this mean for the average Joe, for the people who are impacted by a $0 profit sharing check. The other one is the car buying story, Dad, which is the desperation level. The alarm just went up even higher.
Yeah, but the average Joe can't afford to be a car buyer, and so that all ties in, and that impacts the local economy. Now, the people that I think it doesn't impact are the C-suite executives at Stellantis. My guess is that they won't get as big a bonus this year, but they're still going to make their millions upon millions of dollars. Now, the good news for consumers, if there is good news for consumers here, is, well, to help make up for that loss, that perhaps, just perhaps, they'll have to become more aggressive in marketing and incentivizing the sale of cars, either through direct consumer incentives or factory to dealership incentives that would encourage the dealerships to take a lower profit. That, I think, remains to be seen, because there's only so much money to go around, and as much as we would like to think that they're going to take whatever remaining dollars they have and put them towards incentives, they might be thinking we need to hold on to those dollars. I don't know.
I hear you, but Dad, I think the desperation level is like as high as it can possibly go. And one of the ways that you can get Wall Street to love you again is to show growth. We've seen that, you and I have been doing this professionally with CarEdge for 6 years. You've been a professional in your career for over 50 years at this point, and I've been in my career for now a dozen. You know what makes people happy? Growth. It just, the whole equation, the whole conversation changes in any context if you're growing, if the chart goes up and to the right. So I think that Stellantis' hand is forced here, Dad. You cannot come off the heels of, what was it, like almost a $6 billion loss in the first half of the year and a $20 billion loss in the second half of the year. A lot of this, to be clear, write-downs of their EV business. But even when you take that out, they still would have lost money for the year. You got to show growth. That's the only way that I think they're going to win back favor of investors, of the market, and quite frankly, most importantly, of their customers. And we've already started to see some signs on that. Stellantis' bet is that we can go back to having V8 Hemi engines, away from hybrid powertrains, and lowering prices. We've seen them do that. They've reduced MSRPs, which just leads into the second story I want to talk about today with another automaker who's also waving the desperation, flag, and the desperation bell is sounding. But the $26 billion loss, Dad, no one else is even in spitting distance of that big of a loss. And this is more than like the market capitalization of other automakers. Like, to put this in the context, this is huge.
No, I mean, listen, there's not a lot of businesses that can afford a $26 billion loss or a $26 billion write-off. Okay. I get that. It does not bode well. It saves them on taxes that'll be owed all over the world. So there are some positives for Stellantis on this. And yes, they are, with the new executives that they have in place, they have made a concerted effort, at least in North America, to try and bring back the vehicles at the price points, the pricing levels that their customers always wanted. I mean, when Carlos Tavares was the CEO, he abandoned their customers. He made it plain and clear that they were just going to go up market and keep raising prices. And as they did that, they kept losing sales and losing market share. So yes, they're moving in the right direction to win back their previous customers, to create that loyalty that had existed for a long period of time until they kind of just blew it up. But even though they're trying to win back their customers, are their customers in a position to contribute to actually buying the vehicles, even at a lower price point today? So it'll be interesting to see. But we have seen signs that what they're attempting to do is actually helping to increase sales, which ultimately should help to increase market share. It has positively reduced stagnant inventory levels that had been sitting around for 18 months or so. So the moves they're making seem to be moves that are moving them in the right direction. What begs to be answered is, did they wait too long to do this? Is there enough consumer sentiment out there that says, okay, with lower prices, I'll come back and look at these brands again? That, I think, is an open question and remains to be seen.
Y'all know me. I love doing live experiments. I'm over here on the CarEdge car search, went to caredge.com, clicked shop new. And Dad, what I did is I went to Jeep, new vehicles for sale, model year 2025 to 2025. We still have almost 50,686 brand new Jeep vehicles from the prior model years sitting on dealer lots right now.
Yes.
And many of these, as you can see, 122 days, 154 days, 160 days on the market. These, and especially if I were to put in here now, are they 4xEs? Are they hybrid powertrains? These are the vehicles that over the next 60 to 90 days, I think customers, like, look at this Jeep Grand Cherokee, 305 days.
Nice.
There is immense desperation at both the OEM level and at the dealer level. And I would love if you could speak to this for a moment. Talk about that relationship. Talk about your factory representative coming to you and saying, hey, figure out ways to sell more cars. Because Stellantis, that again, when they lose $26 billion like they did, when they have, in this case, 51,000 leftover Jeeps for sale. We haven't even done Dodge. We haven't even done Ram. They've got 100,000 plus leftover cars out there. What's the conversation like at the Monday sales team meeting? What's the conversation like with your factory rep? How are they trying to motivate and incentivize the sale of these vehicles?
Well, I will tell you that when your factory rep comes to visit and he sits down with the GM and he sits down with the new car manager, and the first thing that he or she is going to go over is your aged inventory report. He or she will have a listing of all of your vehicles that have been sitting around forever. And the first question he or she will ask is, what are you doing to move these units? What type of incentives have you put on these vehicles for your salespeople? What type of incentives have you put on these units for your customers? Where are these units? Are they clean? Are they ready to go? Are there any issues with any of them? Have you made sure that the batteries are good, that the cars have been detailed and are shiny and near the showroom? And those conversations are not necessarily the conversation that the new car manager or the GM wants to be having with their factory rep, because the factory rep, when they do that, are pointing out every deficiency you have as a manager, okay, and pointing out that you haven't been doing your job and managing your inventory to the best of your ability. So if I was the new car manager or I was the general manager, trust me, every one of those bad boys would be right around the showroom. They would all be cleaned. They would be cleaned 2 or 3 times a week. They would be driven occasionally to make sure that there's no issues. And you would, if it were me, I would put huge incentives on these vehicles. Incentives such as, you sell one of them, it's a $750 minimum commission, plus I'll pay you $1 for every day that it has sat on the lot. So if it's been sitting there for 300 days, you're getting $1,050 for selling it. Well, that carries some weight with a sales associate.
Let me show you another example here, Dad. Again, this is just a live experiment. 2025 Jeep Wagoneer S. You remember these? These are the all-electric Wagoneers. MSRP is $67,790. The seller's price, the asking price, $42,897. This dealer's discounting this, at least advertising it, with a $25,000 discount. And why are they doing that? You come down here, Dad, and you look at the market conditions. 335 days on the market, but even more importantly, a 1,845 day supply. There are 41 of these for sale within 100 miles of this one, yet only one has sold in the last 45 days. Again, I am back to the desperation that Stellantis at the corporate level and at the dealer level are feeling right now. The good news, what this means for you, is if you had been eyeing, and I know it's not that many people out there eyeing this type of vehicle, this 2025 Wagoneer S Limited, but the few people that were, go into your local dealership, the Desperation, pull that up, show them that data, and they're going to say, you know what? Take it away, pretty please, any price. Well, we just need to get rid of it.
What I would like you to do, you found that vehicle. Now I want you to go to our transparency index and pull up that dealer and see just how transparent that dealer is, so that we can try and figure out if that $25,000 discount is real or fictitious.
All right.
Because it is the transparency of dealers that are going to make it easier for customers to want to buy from them.
It looks like, Dad, we don't have any data on that particular dealership.
But what we do have, just looking, is that the Ourisman dealerships that we do have an A rating for transparency. So
they're not doing add-ons. From the other Ourisman dealerships that we do have data from, you can see here their doc fee's quite high, but that's what it is in Maryland nowadays, I guess. But they're not doing add-ons. So that's good. But yeah, we don't have data. I just typed in Ourisman, and again, this vehicle that we're looking at is at Ourisman CDJR of Bowie. We don't have data from that particular dealership, but it is that, again, even without how transparent the dealer is, it's a sign of desperation when you're advertising a $25,000 discount and when there's a 1,845 days supply of inventory. Everyone in the industry, including consumers, should have access to this information to be informed about what a fair deal is on this stuff. And the automaker that lost $26 billion, this is what it means for you. If you are one of those rare people who wants that car, know that you have all the leverage in the world and that the dealer and the automaker have all the desperation in the world to get rid of it.
And you know what the scary part is? The $25,000 discount might not be big enough to move it. Okay? Because there was only one person in the last 45 days to buy one of those. That could be the only person in that area that has any interest at any price. So if you are interested in that type of vehicle, I'd go to the dealer and I would print out that page that shows that there's an 1,845 day supply, that there's 45 of them for sale, that one has sold in the last 45 days, that you have a legitimate buyer that A, would like to buy it, has the ability to buy it. Are you going to let me walk away and not figure out a way to sell me that vehicle? Because if you do, the likelihood of some other fool walking in here and suggesting that they'd like to take that off your hands is pretty damn remote, I would think.
Yeah. Dad, I cannot get over just how big of an impact this type of corporate malfeasance is ultimately having downstream on buyers. Again, you're interested in any of these vehicles, which, more power to you. We're not here to judge what you want to get or not. If you want a Jeep Wagoneer, what was it? A Jeep Wagoneer S Limited? More power to you. Just do not pay anywhere near sticker price and do not go in there. And when they say, well, we add window etch to all of our vehicles, so sorry, it's a 500. Tell them you've sat on this vehicle for a year. There's 41 others for sale within 100 miles of this one. And your parent brand just lost $26 billion. You want to make a deal? Let's make a deal. It's just really important to understand the lay of the land as you're navigating this.
You need, as a consumer, you need to understand your leverage if and when you have it and how to use it. Now you could walk into a Toyota dealership and you don't have that same type of leverage.
I mean, to be clear, this is opposite ends of the spectrum. This is as bad as it gets, as good as it gets. Yeah,
but my point was going to be, you have to tailor your conversation as a consumer at that dealership with the true level of whatever leverage you may or may not have. You can't walk into a Toyota dealership as a hard ass and say, well, if you don't give me 10% off, I'm not buying it. It doesn't work that way.
Well, Dad, you and I both know that our video on Saturday is actually one of our most recent AI negotiation experiments. We sent our AI agent to 100 Toyota dealers and we got pricing back. This is just like the videos we've done in the past for the 100 Ford dealers. So I'm not going to give you all the information here yet, but this is going to be our Saturday video. And it does show some of the gamesmanship in buying a Toyota RAV4, a $9,000 price spread. You're going to have to tune into that on Saturday over on the main CarEdge channel. So yeah, different leverage points. We should probably do one for a Jeep as well, but also some of the same games show up regardless of where you go. Now, Dad, let's turn our attention here to Subaru. There's a little bit of desperation coming from this automaker. 2026 Forester pricing has been confirmed, and Subaru is decreasing the MSRP of the Forester by up to $2,015 on the limited hybrid trim. Look at this chart, Dad. They're changing year over year from 2025 to 2026. They're adding more functionality, more features in the new model year, and they're decreasing the price by 4 figures on the Forester. This is really interesting. It comes on the heels of Subaru also saying we need to grow sales significantly. Dad, they're going to be trying to sell a bunch of Foresters, is what this tells me.
Well, and the reason they were able to do it is they have moved much of their Forester production to Indiana. And so some of the savings there for moving that production to Indiana is what's allowing them to lower the pricing. And they realize that at a lower price point, they can better compete against one of their major competitors, which is the Toyota RAV4. So if they can price the Forester significantly below the cost of a RAV4, they should be able to move more Foresters moving forward. And so if I'm looking at that, and I'm reminded of when, I guess it was 1999, when Acura came out with a new and improved TL, lowered the price by $5,000 and increased the standard equipment level significantly. And those were selling at MSRP for like a year and a half. And we couldn't keep them in stock. Everything was pre-sold. So this to me indicates that Subaru really does get it. And they are figuring out the levers to pull when it comes to trying to increase their sales moving forward. And my guess is in many cases, these will be significantly $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 less expensive than comparable Toyota RAV4 hybrids. And Subaru dealers, even if they're in short supply, still seem to be of the mindset to negotiate with their customers. So where your Toyota dealer might not, your local Subaru dealer probably will. You'll find it to be a better value. So I would think this is going to be huge for Subaru.
Dad, I want to pull up on the screen. We do have back on the new dealer ratings. Again, this is still in beta, so you might run into some bugs, but we have the best Subaru dealers ranked nationwide right now based on how transparent they are. And so I encourage everyone to come here, whether it be the best, or I could scroll all the way down here and I could unfortunately find some Subaru dealers that you probably shouldn't go and do business with. Or I shouldn't say you shouldn't go do business with. You should just be very mindful. It's up to you. Yeah, be very mindful. You can see here, for example, this dealership's adding some add-ons to their vehicles. You can see the Capital VIP protection. Let me pull it up. The Capital VIP protection, did I ask for that? Not sure.
It's on a used car.
Yeah, exactly. Deposit, non-refundable, goes to purchase price. Man, I love that we have all the receipts for everything here. It's really pretty incredible. But I dropped that link in the chat because, again, while this is in beta, this is early. If you are thinking about a Subaru, you know this. The 2025 Foresters, we're seeing big discounts and 0% APR. Why? Because the 2026s have a $1,000 to $2,000 MSRP reduction. So what's the motivation going to be for customers to buy a 25 once the 26s are out? And again, use the new resource we have to make an informed decision about which dealership you choose to go spend your time with. Dad, there's another story we have to turn our attention to today, which is just mind-boggling to me. This falls into the path of other manufacturers making what was previously standard equipment, something you have to pay for. We've seen this at times with like subscriptions. You got to subscribe to get more horsepower out of your car. Toyota got in a lot of trouble maybe a year or two ago when ultimately you had to subscribe to remote start your vehicle. This concept of standard equipment becoming something you have to pay for is something that we don't like here at CarEdge. And now, Dad, Ford is charging $495 for you to have a frunk in your Mustang Mach-E. So to be clear here,
yes,
this has previously been just standard equipment. You buy a Ford Mustang Mach-E, it has a frunk.
Yeah.
It has it.
Guess
you're going to have, what was
guess
that?
What? Guess what? It still has a frunk.
Yeah, so to be clear here, you're paying $400, I'm just going to read, the 2026 Ford Mustang Mach-E of the electric crossover no longer offers a front trunk as standard equipment. Instead, it's a $495 option, though the starting price of the vehicle has been lowered $150 to make up for the lost under hood storage. So if you want to open your frunk, you want to have a frunk, you got to pay $500. I read, I was like, what is going on there? What? This makes no sense to me.
And the frunk's there.
What the frunk? What the frunk?
Yeah, what the frunk? Because the frunk is there. It's not like the frunk is gone. It's just it might be a software issue just to be able to unlock it to get to it. It is one of the most ridiculous things that I've ever seen. You're lowering the price $150. Meanwhile, it's still there. But if you want to be able to access it, it's $495. Well, okay, well, why don't you lower the price $495? And if a frunk is worth $495, well, then lower the price by if you're taking the availability of it away. I see things like that.
I love this comment, Dad. Are enough people buying the Mach-E to care? No.
No.
But we're still going to talk about it because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, but those who might have possibly wanted to utilize, and the reason Ford did this is because they realized through research afterwards that people are not utilizing the frunk as much as they thought they would. And then the frunk has gotten smaller because they had to put in a bigger heat pump or something. And so the usable interior space of the frunk is smaller than it's been, and people weren't basically using it in the first place. That would be like saying all the stuff that came standard in my Mazda that I don't use, I shouldn't have access to because, well, I don't use it anyway. Yeah, but what if I wanted to? What if there was a time where I had a Mustang Mach-E and I said, damn, I need that extra frunk space. This is that one time. It's already in the car. Why can't I access it? So that's the type of short-sighted nonsense that these manufacturers do. And then they wonder why consumers don't think highly of them. Well, you know, if you expect your dealers to operate in a straightforward way, which you do expect, but you know it's not happening, maybe sometimes the dealers just mirror the actions of the manufacturer. And this is, in my opinion, one of those cases. The damn thing has a frunk. Just leave it alone. If somebody needs it 3 years down the road, then they can have access to it. They don't need to pay extra.
Dad, the quote here, quote, we were learning that customers were using their frunk, but perhaps not as much as we had originally intended, Teddy Ankeny, Ford's Mustang Mach-E brand manager, told the electric duo on YouTube, quote, so in order to kind of preserve that customer choice, we made it optional for the 2026 model year. That makes no sense. That makes zero, that is like mind-meltingly illogical to me. To preserve choice, we made it optional and you have to pay for it because people aren't using it. What? And I don't know this individual. I don't know this man. Maybe it was set out of context. Like, I want to give all the benefit of the doubt in the world. This one makes zero sense to me, Dad.
Well, it's just corporate speak. It's corporate
speak. Yeah, it means nothing.
Yes,
those sentences, they mean nothing.
We want to share with you that we can have such convoluted thinking that at some point as a customer, you're going to look at us and go, these people should seek mental health advice. Okay. Because there's no way you could even put that in words and expect people to look at it and go, oh yeah, that makes total sense. Doesn't make any sense. It's already in the car. Stop it. Stop acting like the greedy sons of guns that you are. Okay? When you do this stuff, try being honest. Say, you know what? Not enough people are using it. And the people who don't want to use it, they're going to have to pay for it. And that's just the way it's going to be because, well, we could use the extra money. Just be honest. But there's no honesty in this country, period. I mean, nobody will ever admit an honest thing. You know, it's like, well, I got to think of a way to color this so it doesn't make me look as bad as I really am. Just be honest. There's an opportunity for us to make more money by doing it this way for the people who might actually utilize a frunk. Okay, great.
There's some honest people out there, folks. They're back at CarEdge.com. My dad and I are so proud for the past 6 years of what we've been able to build and the services we're able to provide. Again, for those of you that are unfamiliar, at CarEdge, we provide a car buying service that takes care of research, dealer outreach, and even negotiation. We learn what matters to you, contact dealers, compare real offers, and help you get the best deal without the stress. Again, we have a promotion running $200 off our car buying service, 20% off CarEdge Pro. And this Saturday, we've got a really, really, really good video over on the CarEdge main channel. You can check out the data early. I'll drop the link in the chat. It's caredge.com/experiments if you want to learn and get the data early. But we've got all the information from contacting 100 Toyota dealers for a similarly priced Toyota RAV4. And you will not believe what happens next. Actually, many of you will believe what happens next. So check it out. That video will be dropping on Saturday, but the data's up on the CarEdge website if you want to check it over. First, Dad, again, a great show. We'll be back tomorrow with more CarEdge Live. I'm certain there will be more things that we want to talk about, but holy cow, what a show for today.
Absolutely. Thank you for finding some of these topics. And I guess, you know, the real thanks go to the morons that are running these major companies, because, you know, we couldn't do what we do. We couldn't discuss what we discuss if there wasn't some moron in a C-suite going, hey, we need to lose $26 billion. Or, you know, wouldn't it be nice to charge $4.95 for a frunk? You know, so thanks to the good folks at Stellantis and Ford for making our job easier, in my opinion.
We'll see you tomorrow, folks.